Hey everybody, welcome to Boss Run. I'm your host, Billy Housh, and let's get talking about some video games. So let's start with hardware, and the biggest news we have is price hikes. There's a huge price hike coming to PlayStation systems, PlayStation consoles. And yeah, it's substantial. It's also crazy because this is the second hike, the second time Sony bumped the price in less than a year. So the last price hike was August 2025. And I highly recommend, if you are thinking about buying a PlayStation 5 system or even the PlayStation Portal, that's like the little handheld, it looks like a handheld, but it's for streaming your system to this like small device. I recommend buying it immediately if you can find one in stores, because the prices go up April 2nd. So what is that? That is like next week. So after you watch this, run out to the stores and see if you can buy a PlayStation if you haven't already owned one. So the price hike is across the board for like $100 and more USD. So for example, the PlayStation 5 with the disc drive, the PlayStation 5 digital, those both go up $100 USD. And then the PlayStation 5 Pro goes up by $150. And at this point, if you're going to buy a PlayStation 5 and you probably want to buy it if you're looking forward to playing Grand Theft Auto 6 later this year or maybe next year. I don't know. Yeah, probably grab a Pro that will future-proof it for some bit. Also, the PlayStation Portal is up by $50. So I'm looking at the Canadian prices for this system, and it's pretty crazy. So the launch PlayStation 5, like the regular PlayStation 5 that has a disc drive, is $820 Canadian. And the craziest thing is, and this is before taxes, a PlayStation 5 Portal, a PlayStation 5 Pro as of April 2nd, before taxes, will be $1,100, which is nuts. I think I bought the PlayStation 5 Pro with a disc drive, taxes in, for $900, and I thought that was crazy for a console system. But it's going to be $1,100 without tax, and that's without the disc drive. So if you want the disc drive, that's like another like $150 on top of that. That's crazy. That's really, really crazy for the price of consoles. But then again, when you look at the price of like everything else that has RAM in it or NAD, like a SSD drive, that's how it goes. So Sony's official reason for the price hike is, quote unquote, continued pressures in the global economic landscape. But pretty much everyone's pointing at the RAM and memory shortage caused by the massive demand from AI data centers, which is interesting since there was another bit of news that came out this month that RAM prices were starting to decline a bit as there was a breakthrough by Google Labs of how to like optimize the usage of RAM in data centers for AI by like 6%, six times. So we started to see a bit of decline thanks to like a technological advancement of like optimizing, but we'll see how that goes. I also heard rumblings that CPUs are going to be expensive too. So like there's going to be shortages of that, which will jack the prices. So I hope everyone bought their hardware years ago. It's crazy that a video game console that you may have purchased 6 years ago when it came out in 2020, has appreciated like a asset, like a stock. Like a video game console and a computer are appreciating more than the price of like a used car, which is insane. Usually this is like disposable trash electronics that like quickly after a year from launch it usually goes down $100. Not that it just like keeps jumping up. So since 2020, the price of the PlayStation 5 has gone up almost like $200. That's what world are we leaving our kids in? So yeah, if you're looking to buy a video game console, I mean, at this point, I don't know, because the rumors are that next year there's going to be a PlayStation 6. So how much is that going to cost? And I doubt many people will be rushing out to buy a PlayStation 6. I have a feeling that PlayStation 5 is going to be supported for a very long time. Like, I mean, in the end, they became what we thought they would become, like cell phones, where like I'm still using an iPhone 13 and they're at like what, I don't know, iPhone 17 at this point. And it doesn't really matter. Like there's not that much of a difference. You could keep rolling with it. So I wonder if that's going to be the case with video game systems of like, sure, if you want a little bit more performance, you can upgrade, do an incremental upgrade, but it's no longer this massive generational leap every like 5 years or whatever. And it's like, I mean, also it makes you think, if you're not in a rush to buy, like if it was after April 2nd and you already waited so long to get a new generation system, would it even be worth putting that money down for this current generation? At that point, if it's certain that the PlayStation 6 is coming out next year, won't you just save that money and then like save another couple $100 and then buy a PlayStation 6 when it comes out then? Because it'll be backwards compatible with all the PlayStation 5 games and all the PlayStation 4 games. So it's a very strange market. It's also funny, like people complained when Switch 2 came out and they said that was pretty expensive because of the tariffs and all that stuff. Switch 2 is looking good. The pricing for it's looking pretty good. I mean, like if you had to buy an economy system, like Switch 2 would probably be the one to get. So I'm maybe Nintendo's long-term goals will work, especially if games, like you would suspect now game developers would be focusing on making their games very optimized, so it would run on different generations of hardware. Like it's no longer would it be profitable to make a game that focuses on like the latest and the greatest, because like not everyone has that. They might even be capable of buying it if they could even afford it. So it just makes sense to make your games run on potatoes and stuff like that, which is nuts, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I hope the economy kind of bounces back. I hope this like AI bubble bursts so these things are more affordable. I mean, we're going to have even more shortages. I mean, there's way bigger problems than that going on in the world, and we're right at the top of the roller coaster, ready to plummet, to feel some of the effects of what's going on in the Middle East and whatnot. So it would be nice that at the very least we have our escapism to be able to enjoy a virtual world that we have some bit of control over, since a lot of people don't feel they have control over the real world that we're living in right now. But I like to be optimistic. I have a feeling in 2027 things are going to be better. I hope they are. But yeah, if you're on the fence about buying a PlayStation 5 or you're thinking about getting one, I would just immediately buy one, like right now. Right now, if there's a game that you want to play right now, like you need one. And if like you broke your PlayStation 5, go buy it right now to save. Like you're saving basically the price of a game or two. So go do that. April 2nd, it's going to get expensive. Happy Easter. The other bit of doom and gloom, which is like a reflection of how this industry is not doing too hot, is one of the biggest game publishers, game engine makers, had laid off 20% of its workforce. So 1,000 people lost their job at Epic Games. So you probably, if you know a bit about video games, you probably have heard of Epic Games. You've probably heard of Fortnite, which is what Epic Games creates. You've probably played a game that runs on the Unreal Engine, which is one of the main products of Epic Games. They create the tools, the tool set for the World Engine that a lot of video games use for their games. Laid off 1,000 people, and this was like Fortnite was the money printing machine. Fortnite was the game that started the whole gold rush towards making these online only games as a service games with microtransactions and whatnot. So it's kind of scary when like that this like things got real quick. Shit got real. So the CEO, Tim Sweeney, he stated that there has been a significant downturn in Fortnite's engagement since 2025. So a lot of people stopped playing Fortnite in 2025. I wonder why. What's the correlation? What happened in 2025 that people stopped playing Fortnite? Probably the economy exploding. The tariffs? I don't know. The company is currently spending significantly more. This is a quote by Tim Sweeney. They're spending significantly more than they're making. On what? On what exactly? Data centers? I think I've heard that Fortnite has been spinning off all these other like in-game modes and stuff like that. And I heard that they're slashing those. They're bringing those, like taking those away. So that's pretty crazy if Fortnite seemed like the albatross. That was like that's like the game institution that is like impenetrable. Like that's what everyone has been chasing. So if that's not doing well, I can see a lot of like even like shareholders and investors and all this stuff in video games kind of scaling back, kind of being like, ugh, maybe we shouldn't be investing so much money in video games. Maybe video games isn't the thing. I hope that doesn't make them all take that venture capital and put it in AI. But yeah, that's pretty terrible. I don't know what to say. I hope they don't take our video games away. Keep buying games. You don't need to buy Fortnite, but like support the little guys and stuff. I wonder in essence, I wonder what like how mobile games are doing. If there's like any sort of like industry data about the mobile industry, if that's doing well. Because I would assume more people, I don't know. Do more people play Fortnite on like mobile devices and like iPads and stuff than like consoles? I don't know. But it's crazy. I wonder what's next for Epic Games. Are they going to like, I guess Fortnite is such a big name that you never thought it would just go away. It's like Minecraft, right? What would be next with Epic Games? You would think with their like game engine licensing, they could still like stay afloat, maybe no problem, but 20% of their workforce, yikes. Anyways, let's go into some positive stuff, like what I've been playing and what I've been looking forward to. So I started playing a lot more of Crimson Desert. I am further in the game. I'm on, I believe the game has 11 chapters. I want to check that. How many chapters does How many chapters does Crimson Desert have? 14 chapters, so I was off. So it has 14 chapters. I'm on chapter 5 and about 20 hours so in the game. And it's really fun. It's like a massive, like, it's just like Assassin's Creed on crack. It's like a massive world Assassin's Creed game with deeper systems of combat and just like more mini games and extra stuff to do. That's what I would compare it to. And it's been like this huge time sink playing it. Some like just the scope. Sometimes you're just like staring at the game like, oh my God. So I climbed this little tower and now the tower is like ascending with an elevator into the sky. And it's like a whole nother world up there, the abyss. It's pretty intense. And the boss fights are pretty epic. I'm still playing through the boss fights to see if things are kind of samey or not. Like if they do the same structure and it's like rinse, repeat. But so far, with all the distractions of the other stuff that you do in the world, they've been mixing it up, and the pace, the way they handle the pace in the game is really good. And yeah, the combat is great. That's the thing, is like the combat and the traversal is great in the game. And those are the two most important things that you need to nail in any open world game. You have to be able to move around, and it's fun just going from point A to point B, and it's fun clearing out enemies. And they have that done very well. There's enough like fast travel points around the map that if you get kind of like sick of like moving around and stuff like that on your horse or running or whatever, they got you with the fast travel points. You can just like load into another area real quick. I started to get into the pets. You can like, because there's animals all over the game, and you can like bond with the animals by like first petting them, building trust, and then start feeding them the foods they like, to eventually they become your pet that you can summon anytime and they'll be with you. You can pick them up and walk around with them. But like they actually have some sort of utility, similar to I've seen in other like MMOs or RPGs, where the animal will run around and like pick up the loot for you. So like if you go into an area that there's loot all over the place, or you like kill a bunch of enemies, they'll grab like money and stuff and loot for you off of them. So you don't have to go around and like press X or whatever on top of like boxes and dead bodies. The other thing is some of the animals can also help you fight, and they'll attack, which is cool as well. So that's been really cool. Like Crimson Desert's a really great game. They've been constantly updating it too, with like crazy big updates. The game's like barely out, and they've been like addressing any and every issue that gamers have had. And the game keeps getting better and better. Honestly, by the time that this game is like a couple months old, that it goes on its first sale, I think it's a no-brainer, because probably by that time it's going to be super polished. And it's not just polish as in like they optimize the game. The game runs faster. Like each week the game runs faster and looks better. But they also like optimize like the gameplay and a lot of like quality of life kind of issues with like the UI and stuff. So man, like 4 months in, 6 months in, and the first like sale, if it goes like 40% off, 50% off, that's a steal. That's going to be like an excellent game with 200, 300, 400 hours of content. So if you want to save some money and you've got a backlog, you could also just, wait for the first sale. And I would say first sale must buy, just buy it. Just buy it once it goes on sale. If you're really looking for a game that you can sink your time in and you've got lots of time, it's definitely an awesome game. It's also funny seeing the Metacritic just like creep up, going from like it was in its 70s and now it's in its 80s. It just keeps going up. But like that's a lot of good news. I haven't been playing Marathon. This last week I didn't play any Marathon because I was pretty much captured by Crimson Desert. Some of that's with like the one of the guys that I often play games with. Well, I play Marathon with is on vacation, and I don't know. I kind of wanted to play a bit of a chill game these last couple of like days. So that chill game has been Crimson Desert. It's also been the demo for Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream for the Switch, not the Switch 2. For the Switch, the demo was released. I've got history with Tomodachi Life. I think when I originally played the demo, it first was a 3DS game. I played that on the 3DS. I love the demo. It's like a Sims game. It's like if you played The Sims. And then I bought the full game for the 3DS and I loved it. It's like one of my favorite Sims kind of like social chill game. So it kind of blew my mind when Nintendo announced that they're making a sequel for it. It was like, damn. And the trailers and stuff were pretty funny because it's really weird. It's got some really wacky, funny kind of like stuff in it. And like, if you remember the Wii, you could create these Miis, these little like avatars of whoever. Usually you like, I would make avatars of myself and the people I know, friends and family and stuff. And it's pretty, you pretty much do the same thing with Tomodachi Life. But you can also set their personalities. So there's sliders to like create their personality and also like their voice. There's like these pitch modulators to make their like robotic little funny voices. And there's tons of content. There's like a light RPG element to it. And in this case, it's an island. So you have this island that you first create different characters to put on the island. And then once you hit different milestones with the characters, new shops get opened up so you can buy like furniture and food and there's like a wishing well in the middle of the island that once you once you get a certain amount of approvals from like happiness from your Tomodachis, your Miis, you get to give wishes, and the wishes can unlock like different objects like soccer balls or maracas or stuff like that to give your Miis. Different like elements of the disposition of your characters, so you can make them like walk a certain way. Maybe like you can give them like catchphrases that they'll randomly say and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny. Like if you enjoy making characters in a character making system and then also like very much customizing it, it goes into depth on how you can do that. And then it puts them into scenarios with each other that it creates a lot of comedy. A lot of comedy ensues between the interactions between these characters. Now, when they announced this game, I was in shock because I was in shock and I was impressed because I really loved the first one and I did not think they would make a sequel to this. I didn't think they would. I didn't know if it sold very well. Plus, it's really close to stuff like Animal Crossing. I would say Animal Crossing would be like their number one analog to like a Nintendo Sims franchise. That's why I was like, wow, I'm surprised they're making a sequel to this. But when it came out, I'm like, yeah, this looks cool. Definitely something I would play, but would I? Would I play it? It looks cool, but I could see myself like getting it and just not being interested in making characters and logging in each day and playing The Sims. I kind of like grow out of that. And like the other thing was like the 3DS version of it, it's portable. So it was like really handy to just like pull it out and like play for a couple minutes and then put it away. So I was really on the fence about like, you know what, like I didn't immediately pre-order it where it's like a game that I would probably do that. But I was like, you know what, it'd probably be a waste of money. I probably won't play this game. I like the idea of it. And that's why I'm really glad that Nintendo put out like a substantial demo. Like it's a pretty beefy demo. So if you want to try it, the demo's on the eShop and it gives you basically you can build 3 characters in it and it gives you a basic gist of the gameplay loop of this game. I played it. I couldn't stop. I wanted to play more. I got angry once the demo finished. After the 3 characters were created, I was hoping that I could keep making new characters in preparation for the game. And also like your save file and your progress and all those characters do transfer over to the full version. So that's another situation where the demo completely sold me on a game that I was on the fence for. And incidentally, there's another game. So this game comes out, the full version of it comes out April 16th. Another game that I have pre-ordered and another game that was the same scenario where it wasn't really on my radar. Like I knew of it, but it didn't look good from the trailers or what I was like seeing of it. But then they put out an early demo of the game and that instantly sold it to me and made it one of the most like anticipated games of this year. And that's Pragmata. So Pragmata comes the day after. It comes out April 17th. That game is released. And I think I've talked about Pragmata. Pragmata is made by Capcom. Capcom's on fire. You heard how much I enjoyed Resident Evil Requiem, which recently came out. This runs on the same game engine, but it's from what I know from the demo and stuff, you're like a spaceman, like a guy in a spacesuit. The demos, you're in a space station and you find this like android. It's like a small girl android who like sits on your shoulder. And when you fight robots or when you have to do puzzles, she does these hacking. She does the hacking and you do the shooting. So you'll encounter robots that will have like shields or you need to figure out where their weak point are. You will use like the face buttons on the controller to do this like small like connecting hacking game using the android. And then as soon as you solve it, then the weak spot is exposed or the shields are down. And then you just quickly shoot with the main character's gun that you control that main character's traversal. Very unique, very smart. And when I first heard about it and I saw it, I'm like, that looks like something really difficult, like a rhythm game that you have to do while playing a shooting game. But it's not that hard. When I played the game, granted, I was playing like the demo and probably was like an early area. The game does kind of slow down in bullet time to let you do these puzzles, and the puzzles aren't terribly difficult. I'm sure eventually like bosses and game like levels like down the road will ramp up the difficulty level, but it was manageable and it was legitimately fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So those are the next 2 games I'll have in the month of April, so very soon. So Tomodachi Life, I'll be playing that on the Switch too. And I pre-ordered on Steam, Pragmata. So I'll be playing that on my computer. So April is already stacked. I hope I can get through Crimson. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could get through the story of Crimson Desert before Pragmata comes out at least. Because I'm playing Crimson Desert on the PC as well. So if I can get that out of the way, then I can enjoy Pragmata. The other game, so this is kind of tied into some news as well. There was an announcement last week that they are going to release an upgraded version of Shenmue 3. So the Shenmue series, I only played through to completion Shenmue 1 for the Sega Dreamcast back in, I think it was 1999 when that game came out. I think either 1999 or 2000 was when Shenmue 1 came out. And I loved the game. That was before I moved to Japan. And it just like, that gave me that sense of open world game grounded in reality somewhat. And a sense of place. It had a strong sense of place. It had a strong vibe to it. And then once I went to Japan, I could see that it essentially, like, accurately, authentically captured that vibe of a small village in Japan. That game was the precursor to one of my favorite game series, which is the Yakuza game series, Like a Dragon. This was the Sega game made by Yu Suzuki and also Nagoshi, who was the creator of Yakuza. He worked on the first Shenmue game, and that inspired him. And when I play Shenmue, it's like, yeah, oh man, this did inspire the Yakuza series. Shenmue 1 came out. It had a rocky, like, same as like Yakuza did, but Yakuza was a success. Shenmue 1 came out. It was a super expensive game at the time, and I don't think it sold that great. Shenmue 2 came out in Japan, and it came out in Europe as well. So there was an English translation to it, but it never came to North America on the Dreamcast, because the Dreamcast failed as a system. It died. But later, I think Shenmue 2 did come out on the original Xbox, the OG Xbox. But I never played Shenmue 2. I always wanted to play it. This game series was supposed to be, I think, like 5 games. That was what Yu Suzuki planned. But after Shenmue 2 came out on like Xbox, the game just like, they stopped. It wasn't until like a couple of years ago, I don't know when, maybe 2019, 2018, there was a Kickstarter for creating Shenmue 3. And Shenmue 3 created on like the Unreal Engine, a smaller team led by Yu Suzuki. And that game did come out. I was part of the Kickstarter. I have a copy of Shenmue 3 on my PS4, like a physical copy of it. I never opened it though. It's still a sealed copy. Because the reviews were terrible on the game. People said the game wasn't good, and you could tell from budget constraints that it just wasn't a proper realization of the vision that Yu Suzuki had for the title, which was unfortunate. And I think I just dropped off of that. And I was like deep in playing like the Yakuza games. So it's like, why? Well, whatever. Anyways, hearing that they're doing like an upgrade and like fixing all the issues, upscaling it for PlayStation 5, like doing gameplay issue. People had gameplay issues with the camera and like the fighting system. So they're working on that, fixing that. It's supposed to be out this year. And they're working hard to make an upgrade path. So if you already have like a copy of the regular Shenmue 3, either like you'll get a free upgrade or be able to pay like $10, $15, something like that to upgrade it. But they're working on it because I think the Shenmue 3 that I have, it was published by Deep Silver. And this new upgraded version is published by Ini Games, I think they're called, a Japanese company, Ini Games. So they might have to like work out some like rights issues to see how they can upgrade it. I hope that there is an upgrade path so that my $60 wasn't wasted. And I'll be fine even paying like another like $10, $20, but buying a whole another game, I might just wait until the sale before jumping in. But anyways, that made me like dig out my copy of Shenmue 3 and made me realize that I also did buy, Sega did put out a remastered version of Shenmue 1 and 2 on PlayStation 4. So I found that and I'm like, you know what? I should just like play through Shenmue 1 and 2 and like, why not just get the platinum trophies for it and just play those slow as like another chill game until hopefully the upgraded version of Shenmue 3 comes out and then I can play that. So I started to play Shenmue 1 last night on my PlayStation. And it was fine for the beginning. I mean, like, you kind of forget how herky-jerky the controls were because this is like still like people are trying to figure out like 3D open world games are still like new. So they're all figuring out how to get the camera to work. And the remake really didn't do too much work on like fixing some of the issues with the camera. So I played the game for 2 hours last night and I had to stop because I was physically feeling ill. I got motion sickness, like really bad, like a headache, and it felt like I was going to like puke. And I was like, is this the game? Like, what is going on? Why am I feeling like this? The only other time I felt like that is playing like PlayStation VR, this PlayStation 2 VR for a little too long. I get that queasy feeling. I once also felt that way playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, playing that at 30 frames per second. And I think also it's like kind of sitting close to the TV. It just made me feel sick. And it sucked because I'm like, I really want to play this game. I want to finish the game, but I feel motion sickness. So I was looking it up. And apparently it is an issue. A lot of people have motion sickness with Shenmue because of the camera, on how like the camera is like it's disorientating. And for some reason, it's like the way that the skybox moves with the camera makes people feel seasick, gives them motion sickness. And I heard like, okay, sit as far away as you can from the screen so you can see the screen with like the border behind it, outside of it. So you have in your peripherals some like fixed stuff. It could be because I was sitting relatively close to a 55-inch TV. The swinging back and forth probably was making me feel sick. I think what I'll try is try remote play. I don't have a PlayStation 5 portal, but I have a Steam Deck, and you can do the same kind of deal with the Steam Deck. You can remote play to it. So maybe playing that game in a smaller screen, that might alleviate the motion sickness. But like, I play so many other games that are all 3D, fast action, all this stuff. I don't feel sick playing those games at all. But this one made me feel ill. I don't know if you can get used to it after a bit, but the time that I felt bad wasn't worth it. So I think the next thing I have to reset up remote play on my Steam Deck so I can play. I'll try it on my Steam Deck to see if that fixes it, but then I'll give you guys an update. And let me know if you're like watching this on YouTube or anywhere that you can leave a comment. Let me know if you ever deal with motion sickness playing video games that aren't in VR. Have you ever experienced that? And what do you do? How do you like mitigate or alleviate having motion sickness on these games? Because it sucks. I really wanted to play through that game. I still do. I still want to get like the platinum achievements on Shenmue 1 and 2, and then hopefully on 3. But I really do hope that they haven't given a date for when PlayStation 3, when the Shenmue 3 upgraded version, I think it's called Shenmue 3 Enhanced Edition, comes out, but it's definitely coming out for everything. It's coming out for every current generation system. So like PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series systems. It's coming out for Switch 2, I believe, and of course for like Steam. The Steam upgrade path would be probably really easy to do, but hopefully they figure out how to like they deal with, because like the publishers like Yu Suzuki's publishing company, I think I call it Unet, I forget what they're called. They had no problem getting the game for themselves out of Deep Silver. I don't even know, does Deep Silver even exist? Didn't it get sold? Deep Silver Games, didn't it get sold to someone? Because I remember like no, Deep Silver still exists. Excuse me. It's an Austrian company, publishers of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Did they publish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? But yeah, I remember they were part of THQ, which went bankrupt. So I don't know if they still exist. Yeah. Evesnet is a used company. But yeah, like I really hope that I don't have to pay full price again for Shenmue 3. But we'll see. But yeah, those are like so the two games I'm looking forward to in April is definitely Tomodachi Life, Living a Dream, and Pragmata. There is a big Sony first party game. It's first party studio, Housemarque. So basically the people who made the game Returnal are releasing a similar type of game, like a bullet hell kind of game called Soros. Returnal did not click with me. Returnal was kind of like a launch window PlayStation 5 game. It's now, I think it came, like if you have any of the PlayStation subscription services, I think the game is free with that. But that game never clicked with me. It's like a game I wanted to play, but it just never, I'm not into bullet hell kind of games like that. I've been watching some of like more and more previews have been coming out, hands-on previews, and like people were flown into, where is it, Helsinki? I think that's where the game, I forget where the game is made. And they got to play the game and listen to the spiel, the pitch from the developers. And the developers are basically saying that Soros is a game that they're making much more accessible than Returnal. So people who never got into Returnal, they hope that this game will be maybe easier for them to get into, to capture a wider audience, but also has enough challenge that people who like the difficulty, the punishments that was brought to you by Returnal, they'll still get something out of it. I'm still not exactly sold with that. Like, it's just not the type of gameplay that I look for in games. So I don't know. Plus, maybe in a couple of years, it's going to be like free on the service too, right? So I'll look out for the reviews for that game, but that's why I don't mention that game, because I'm not too interested in playing that. But hopefully it's good. I am unfortunately similarly to Returnal, I am kind of interested in like the setting and the story of that game, even though the developers were very like, they stress that this is a gameplay first game. So then the story comes secondary, which is like, it's set in Carcosa. The world is called Carcosa, and it kind of makes sense how like it is slightly procedurally generated maps. If you're a fan of, I want to say Lovecraftian. I mean, it's kind of, you can say like an offshoot of Lovecraft, but like the King in Yellow lore, all this like spooky stuff that came from this concept of these old Victorian era books and poetry. That's where like Carcosa came from. Also, like you may have heard that term from the first season of True Detective touches on that. If you play role-playing games, is it called Delta Force? I can't remember the name of there's a famous role-playing game. The book for the particular campaign for Delta Green. I was close. So if you heard of Delta Green, the role playing game, which is like a role playing game based off of Call of Cthulhu. There was one campaign called Impossible Landscapes where you go to Carcosa. It was like one of their best campaigns. I think that was one of their first campaigns too. No, I don't think so. One of the first major campaigns. That's like that kind of stuff. I'm a nerd for that. And I was like, kind of like, oh man, I kind of maybe should I give this game a try? Because it's possibly teasing that it is in that setting of the world is called Carcosa. And I like, so I will have eyes on that game. I'm going to wait until reviews come out. Like I'm definitely not pre-ordering or buying that game when it comes out, but I'm going to be watching closely of like, I'm sure if you enjoyed Returnal, you're probably going to love that game, but I want to see how much it will win over people who did not get into Returnal, especially if that is their objective for this title. But anyways, that's pretty much it for gaming news and updates on what I'm playing. Once again, I like to stress, if you want to buy a PlayStation 5 sometime soon, I would just immediately run out in the store and buy one right now, because April 2nd, the prices get jacked. Anyways, you guys all have a wonderful week. Please subscribe and like and comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, tell me what you think. Any sort of ratings on Spotify or Apple Podcasts would be appreciated. I have started streaming a bit on Twitch. I've been playing Crimson Desert on Twitch, so you can follow me on Twitch. I'm Billy Housh on Twitch, and that would be much appreciated. Thank you for watching this. You guys all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week, and keep on gaming.